Welcome back to Rapids and Ridges, everybody. Today I'm going to do a quick cooking video. This is going to be homemade deer soup, and I'm also going to do deer jerky. So please stay tuned, and I hope everyone enjoys. So far I've got some baby carrots diced up, and I'm working on sweet potatoes. After that, I'll cut up some corn, and then we'll get some regular potatoes, and I'll start on the meat last. Alright guys, we got all the baby carrots cut up and all of the sweet potatoes cut up. I'm now starting on the corn, and I'm going to do them in about 2-inch sections. I'm just going to cut them up and toss them in. As soon as I get this done, I'll get back with y'all. Alright guys, I've got everything cut up other than my meat, and I just now set it aside to start thawing. I've got quite a bit of meat thawing, as you can see. I'm doing about 4 pounds of the deer meat in my soup, and the other 4 to 5 pounds will be made into jerky. I'm also going to use 1 can of mixed vegetables, some kidney beans, some regular beans, and some diced tomatoes. I'll get everything opened up and threw into our pot here, and as soon as the meat gets thawed enough for us to cut it up, we'll get that done, and I'll get back with you all. Alright guys, I got everything from the cans put in. We got our beans and corn, mixed vegetables. Everything's in here, and I got it filled up just to where everything's fully submerged and it has plenty of water. As soon as the meat finishes thawing, I will get it cut up and we'll get it put in here, and then I'll start on the jerky. The reason I like to do jerky and soup at the same time is I can use all my scrap bits of meat for the jerky, so anything that isn't really idea cuts will end up as jerky. Alright guys, here's a good look at the seasonings I use. It's not necessarily nothing super special, but this is how I do it personally. I got meat tenderizer, red cayenne pepper, Cuban, garlic, and smoky mesquite. I also have Fireball whiskey. If anyone's ever made deer chili before, you've probably used Cuban, cinnamon, and garlic. And the way I make my soup, I think it goes really good with one of these little Fireball whiskeys threw in. So we're going to get ready and do my favorite part, which is the seasonings. And we'll get everything seasoned up. I'll finish cutting up the deer meat and get it through in here shortly. And I appreciate everyone who's still watching at this point. A little bit of the southern cooking at its finest, if you ask me. You cannot overdo it with this. It gives it a great taste. Some garlic. Sorry this is taking me a second too, guys. I am one-handed at the moment. And for the people who just has to measure everything out, I'm very sorry. I'm sure this is probably bugging you to death, but I always cook off eyeballing it, and it's never let me down. We want a little bit of heat, so we definitely want some of that cayenne red pepper. And I'm going to go ahead and add some meat tenderizer in this, but I will also add it directly to my meat. And that's where the brown sugar comes into play. When I go to do the meat, I will put it in a pan and add some brown sugar and butter and kind of get it cooked through and caramelized a little before I add it into my soup. But I'll get to that point and get back with you. Alright guys, this is where we're at with it. I've got the meat cut up. This is going to be jerky, and what I'm going to do for it is add butter and teriyaki sauce. I will use a little bit of Worcestershire sauce and soy sauce as well, and let this set overnight, and that will be what we put in the dehydrator tomorrow morning. This right here is for the soup, and I'm going to go ahead and get a little brown sugar and butter put in my skillet before I turn the heat on, and I'll get everything seared and caramelized a little bit before it goes into the pot. We're almost there though, guys. Alright guys, I got my Worcestershire sauce, soy sauce, and teriyaki sauce put in here. As you can see, I've just filled it up right to the top of my meat, and now I'm going to get some aluminum foil and put over it, and I'll just set it in the fridge until tomorrow morning. When I get up tomorrow morning, I'll set it in the dehydrator. I've got my meat seasoned. I'm getting ready to add some butter, and I'll get heat going on this and get it started. I'll just let this cook though for about 10-15 minutes on low heat. I just want that brown sugar to have a chance to caramelize and let the meat get at least partially cooked, if not fully cooked, before I throw it in to the soup. And the soup itself will slow cook for about 3 to 4 hours. Maybe a little bit longer depending on the potatoes. We'll see how long it takes to get them cooked completely through though. Sometimes it can differ a little according to the size you cut them. Alright guys, it's been about 8 to 10 minutes so far, and we're just about to the point we're looking for. I want it just a little bit more done than what it is right now, but it's pretty close. I'll drain the juice off before I put this into the soup. Sure doesn't look like near as much after you get that silver skin off. But man, I wish you all could smell this. It smells absolutely amazing. Alright guys, I'm going to get ready and get this excess juice drained off, and we'll get this through in the pot and get it slow simmering. We'll just put it on low and let it go for 4 to 5 hours like I said. That's about the color and stuff you're looking for. It doesn't have to be fully cooked through before you add it in, but you want it mostly cooked. Or at least this is how I do it. Everyone can use their own personal preferences, but this is how I like to do it. I'll go ahead and get this juice though drained off and throw the meat in and get back with y'all. Alright guys, I just now got everything threw in together. As you can see on each scoop, we get a little bit of meat. Whether you want more or less meat, just depends on how much you need to add. I just try to make sure it's consistent enough that every spoonful gets at least a piece or two of meat. But we'll get ready and let this slow cook on low, in between low and medium. And I'll leave it like that for about 4 to 5 hours and get back with you. I decided to go ahead and do 1 more pound of ground deer meat. I wanted to make sure it gets well mixed in and incorporated with everything. But I've just about got it cooked and stuff. Right now I already get 1 or 2 scoops of deer meat with every spoonful, but I decided I wanted to make it just a little bit thicker on the meat. So we're just going to finish cooking this off right quick, and I'll throw it in and get back with you. Yeah guys, I like the portion of that a lot better. It seems to be a little bit better. I wanted to make sure I wasn't on the light side of meat. I'm sure it would have been good either way, but I just wanted to be on the safe side and go ahead and add 1 extra pound. Alright, I'm going to get the lid put back on this, guys, and I'll get back with you in about 3.5 hours, give or take a little. Alright guys, everything's looking really good. The taters are starting to soften up. Before it gets too soft, I want to go ahead and add some elbow noodles in, because it ain't really soup unless it has noodles, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and get about a half a box of those put in, mixed up, and I'll get back with you when it's completely done. Alright guys, this is how it turned out. It is absolutely amazing. The looks of it does not do it justice. It is super good. So I'm going to get ready and grab some crackers and dig in. And I'll get back with y'all tomorrow when we start on putting the jerky into the dehydrator. Good morning everybody. I'm back here the following day. I've got my deer meat jerked back out of the fridge and the dehydrator set up. Just as a reminder, the only things I used on this was soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, and teriyaki sauce. This is how I make my teriyaki deer jerky. I'll get ready and spread everything out and get back with you in a minute. If you've watched this far, you might as well subscribe, and thanks for watching. Alright guys, I just wanted to give you a quick look at the sizes of how I cut this up and the color that it gives it after it soaks overnight. But I'll get ready and work my way right on up until I run out, and I'll get back with you. Alright guys, I just finished filling up the dehydrator. We're just going to turn it all the way up and turn it on, and we'll keep an eye on it. It should take about 10 hours. Alright guys, that's pretty much all it is to this video. You just want to let that go for about 10 hours though, or until your personal preference. You can check on how hard it is and how cooked through it is as you go. But that's pretty much all it is guys. I hope everyone's enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.